give to him. That's it. And as long as you are able to write a proper program, write a well-structured program, and I like to make sure that when you are writing a program, no matter how much the next person that's coming to check or work on your program or do something is able to to solve problems that might arise, right? A lot of time you might come across programs where the person who wrote the program is trying to throw you off balance intentionally, right? You see it majorly with OEM programs actually. And yes, of course, there are reasons for that. You have the secrets behind my program or whatever, and maybe you can use that to push me out of the market. So yeah, we would commence today's class. Like I said earlier, I hope the person who was asking how to open the program I shared on the group is on this call. Yes. I deliberately asked him if he knew what CI Potter is because um it might seem that some people join the class just to take attendance and leave and then come back again and join the class and start asking questions that shouldn't be asked at all at this point of the training, right? At this point of the training. I've mentioned severally on the calls that .acd alone, just saying .acd with the file, you should know it's a Rockwell file. You can open it with RS Logix 5000 or Studio 5000. However, because of how strict Rockwell is with programming, fact that we have programmed this guy with a Studio 5000 version 33, we won't be open, we would not be able to open that program with a Rockwell, uh, with a RS5, RS Logix 5000 because RS Logix 5000 stopped on version 21, right? So you won't be able to open it. And even any lesser version before 33, you won't be able to open that file. The worst that would happen is maybe you have an higher version, say version 20, 34, 35, 36, 37, up to 38, which is the most recent. And once you attempt to open the folder with it, your software will prompt you that this guy was created with an earlier version. You want me to migrate it to an higher version, and you would do that. And you should also know that the moment you do that with your uh Studio 5000, there are chances that the PLC you are using, you might need to also upgrade the firmware in the PLC, like I mentioned in the first class for Rockwell. Uh, Allen is so strict on versions, and so you will need to understand all of that. Those are intricacies you might meet along the line because you might not always write fresh program from fresh. In fact, the job you might get might just be for you to just upgrade, might just be an upgrade project. Oh, we have this version of PLC before. We are trying to move it to this version, to the most recent version, because with all of these changes in versions, you understand there are changes maybe in terms of security to the PLC itself and all of that. So these are the things that drives the thought or thinking behind some projects. So you want to upgrade a PLC, you should know what version can I possibly move this guy to, right? If I change this PLC to this version or this firmware, my IO modules, are they still compatible with the new PLC I'm introducing? Things like that, right? And that was why I showed you the compatibility tool on the Rockwell site where you can easily check. You can check your device, whatever product you are trying to use, right? To check it, confirm that this thing would work for whatever application I'm trying to use it for. So I'll just go ahead and open my project, right? And I think the first class we went about opening a new project, opening an existing project, and yes, opening a new project, opening an existing project. But because the file we used was just yesterday, so you would find it under the recent projects tabs on your program, and you can just simply click on it to open. Um, so we would continue. and to hasten things so that we can close out on this project. What I would just do is I will run my simulator today. We'll just do just play around some few instructions and see how they behave, and then we close out on that. And maybe next class we see how to bring in an HMI. Yeah, I think we'll see how to bring in an HMI. The HMI process is also the same thing like you have done in Siemens, where all you need to do is bring in your tags, tag your whatever tags you are using, add it to your HMI, add your visibility and all of that. Yeah. And we are good to go. Whatever kind of animation you want, if it is visibility, if it's for flashing, if it's at events are actions, right? You want to press a button for an activity for the PLC or the HMI itself to carry out a function. Those are events. And yeah, my Rockwell is loading. I say my Rockwell, my Studio 5000 is loading here. So I will just wait for it to open finish. Yeah, my Studio 5000 is still loading. That's why I've not spoken anything since. Sorry, guys, my Studio 5000 is still loading. I don't know why this guy is slow. Okay, so for you to run your emulator, you would have to you have to search for the emulator as well. So you just type Studio or your search button, you can just type Studio 5000. So once you type that, you will see it Studio 5000 Logix Emulate. Studio 5000 Logix Emulate. Then you can run as administration as administrator or whatever. Just I thought I already opened this guy. Why is it bringing it back again? Okay, so this guy has finally decided to open. Yes. So to run your emulator, you need to open your Studio 5000 Logix emulate. Studio 5000 Logix emulate. Now, the interesting thing about Rockwell, which I do not enjoy, or should I say find interesting, is the fact that for me to simulate this HMI, oh sorry, this PLC that I am using here, I would have to, since don't let me use the word simulate, for me to go online, yeah, to go online with this guy that I'm working with here, I would have to connect to a live PLC, to a live PLC, and we all know that you don't want to go, you don't want to go and be playing around a live or working plant, right? So, but then if you want to use your emulator to simulate your program, because the purpose of the emulator is just for you to test your concepts, just a kind of way of carrying out a proof of concept that okay, this is the idea in my head, this is the application that I'm trying to program for. If I try to run or if I try to operate in this manner or this form, will this guy give me the results that I need? Will this guy give me the result that I need? That is the idea. That is the idea behind your emulator, right? Your simulator, your simulation system. So I would need for me to run my controller, right? Or for me to run a simulation, an actual simulation of this process, I would change this my PLC that I have here. Hmm? This PLC that I have here. I will change it to an emulator because sorry, please, I have a call. Let me quickly respond to this question. Okay. For me to use this my to use the emulator. Why is my emulator not opened yet since for me to use the for me to simulate, I have to run my emulator and I need to change the PLC I have in my program file to an emulator, right? Because what Studio 5000 does is that whatever device you put on this guy, that's the device it is actually looking for on the network. If it can't find that device, it won't connect to whatever else is there. So if I turn on my emulator and I try to connect with me with the emulator with this device, this because I mentioned earlier that Rockwell is very strict in terms of what device do you have and all of that, right? And the emulator is not flexible enough. For example, I think with TIA Porter, with PLC SIM Advance, PLC SIM Advance, you can select if you wanted. No, PLC SIM Advance is strictly 1500, but early. version 17, 18 of PLC sim. I think you can switch between, you can tell the simulator that okay, I am simulating for S1200. I'm simulating for S1500, right? But then in TIA Portal, and once you select whether it's 1500 or 1200, any type of 1200 would work with the simulator at that particular time. Any type of 1500 will work with that simulator at that time, depending on which model or which series you picked. But then with Studio 5000, it's different. When I say my PLC is a 17, 15, 1756, L75, it's looking for that kind of version of PLC on the network to connect with. And when you try to download or select and say, I am downloading here, it it wouldn't go. Okay, currently open by another process. And that's not what I'm trying to. Hey, I find this strange. My emulator is not opening. Okay, it just came on now. These guys are funny. Okay, so it's looking for that device on the network, right? And but before we get there, how do you connect to your PLC on field, right? How do you connect to your PLC on field? How do you connect to your PLC on field? So when you look at the top of your logic designer, you have uh this file for performing file functions like you want to open, you want to close a file that is currently open, you want to save, you want to import or create a new component, all those sort of things, right? Then you want to make edits, right? You want to check the properties of the program you are working with at the moment. Then the view, you are trying to tell what kind of view you want to have. You want to add the search view. You want to make your watch table visible on your screen. You want to make your watch table visible on your screen. You so yeah, all of that. You want to do a find replace of something in your program. You want to cross-reference. You want to cross-reference on your logic. All kind of activities can you perform from your logic. You want to monitor tags. You want to edit. You want to add something to your tag, right? Uh, you want to verify. Verify is the same thing as compile. Your compilation when you are compiling in TIA Portal. Here you say you are verifying. Another recent program where I see they used another software I saw recently that they used the term verified for compilation is Prophecy Machine Edition for G Fanuc PLCs. Uh, you want to perform IU forcing SFC force. You want to perform an online edit. I think we'll get to online edits by the time we go online. So for communication, you have the who active, um, go online, set communication software, upload, download, all of that. The other tools, ESD file, ESD hardware installation. So ESD is like an electronic data sheet. So there are some instances where you will be working on a project, you add your device to your network, but your software might not recognize the device, right? Your network may not recognize the device, and then you you go to Rockwell's website and download the ESD file. You download the ESD file, you install it. Once you do that, then your software will now be able to recognize that this is the module that you added, this is the CPU that you added. So this is how your RS Logic emulate looks like. Windows, and up. So, but now we want to communicate. For you to establish communication, right? When you are connecting your PC to your PLC in while working with Rockwell, Rockwell have a separate software, that serves like yeah, that serves as a bridge that creates that establish that connection between your PLC and your end device on the field. So, and that software is called RS Links. RS Links. So if you are doing your installation or during your installation and you don't install the proper RS Links software, you would have difficulty connecting to whether a live PLC or even your emulator. You will have a difficulty connecting to it. So then I think if you select this active, it automatically, okay, and this guy's will talk, please. So you can select who is active here, or you can also use any of something is preventing me from. Let's select anything. Okay, I think it's because of the word active that's opened it. So you would see we have this select a communication path using RFSU. Yes. So when you are trying to communicate with your PLC, you would see that here we have this word written paths none. As long as your paths is indicating none, you can't establish communication with anything externally. As long as this guy is having none, you can't communicate to a PLC, you can't communicate to an emulator or anything whatsoever. So you need to set your communication paths. You need to set your communication path. And one of the things you need to first do is you need to, I don't like that Rockwell is littered everywhere. I am trying to, I am using a separate screen I extended my screen, yes, so that I can have a good view. So the way I'm opening some things, it's opening on the other screen in front of me instead of this one in my front. And I think Daniel that chose Rockwell over this, he needs to consider that in his choice. I need to close this guy back. Uh, okay. First things first. Let us uh let us open our RS links. RS links. Yeah. RS links will open in another window here now. I think I'll have to stop extension. But then it makes it difficult for me. So I am trying to open my RS links. So on your RS links, that's where you would set your communication adapter. What's the form of communication you want to use in communicating with the device that you have on field? You set it up. There is there's this who is active interface that opens up. Where's our rest links? I mean, this guy is delaying. Oh, no. Okay, let me, if I do share windows, desktop in. Sorry, the softwares are taking a long while to come on. And I think because of I have factory talk links installed, factory talk links, and it's kind of interfering with the RS logics I have. Okay, let me just select this software configuration. Who is active? Uh, so I guess that is what is going on. Factory talk is conflicting with RS links. So how do I explain factory talk links and RS links like this now? Uh, okay, I think we'll get to that later. So by coming to communication here, this window and selecting who is active, this window pops up. This active window pops up, and you will see auto browse is enabled, meaning that the moment I opened this guy is scanning all my communication adapters that I have to see what devices are connected to it, to see what devices are connected to it, to the factory links, because the factory links naturally has communicates directly with your network adapters, whether it's via USB, Ethernet, or any other thing you are introducing, right? So it's established connections directly to it. And what way do you also, in case you have a driver or adapter here that you don't want to use, or you are not interested in, or you want to introduce a new adapter, this plug sign that you have here, configure driver, is where you go to, right? Then you select which driver is available for use, which driver is available for use. Then you select on it, or you can add you can add new driver. You can add a new driver, and you can add new driver to your connection. Now you can see that under this guy you have this back back plane, and your back plane is showing you that there is a device on slot 2, and that device is Studio 5000 Logix emulate. You might not see the same thing. You might not see the same thing in your own. Yeah. Of course, I know they are, I know they are to serve the same purpose, right? I understand that factory talk and RS links are to serve the same purpose. But factory talk is more related with mm, when you are working with what are these site edition, factory talk site edition, HMI and all of that, right? I know they do the same function. So basically, what we are trying to do here now is we can see I have this 02 Studio 5000 Logix emulator HAL 33 showing us the firmware version of the emulator that we have on. If you come to help here about, you can see the version of the Studio 5000 that we have opened, right? And so, and because of it is a virtual this thing, that is why it's not appearing under your Ethernet here or your USB here. Assuming we have, assuming I have devices connected to my Ethernet and my USB, they would appear under this option. Any device that is connected on my Ethernet adapter would appear under this. Any device connected on my USB would appear under this. But this is virtual, right? Because the emulate is a uh, virtual device. So what I would simply do is I would select this. So parts is telling me I have a part of between my back plane and number two. Then I will set project path. Set project path. The moment I do that, it's expected that I should be able to go online with the PLC now. But then because of I have a different PLC version, if I click go online, this guy is telling me that failed to go online with the controller. The actual processor type does not match the processor type for this project. Like, do we understand what the PLC what the software is telling us? The guy on that part, the guy it can see on that part that we just set, which is our emulate, is of a different version, is of a different controller type when you compare it to the PLC we are trying to connect to it, right? So we'll go again. You can also go online or offline from this place as well. You right click this, then select go online. Then that instruction pops up again. I can then select change. Changing the controller type from to emulate will affect the project in numbers of ways. That's your problem. Then I say yes. Then I have this guy. You would observe something on my project here. Okay. Then now I can download. We can see the information is giving us now. Configured controller slots number 0 does not match the actual slot number 2. The two must be the same in order to download. Remember, I mentioned earlier that yes, you can position your 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 CPU anywhere on the chassis. Yes, that is correct and still remains valid. But then, whatever position you put it on field must be the same position you are putting it in your project. In your project. So what I will just do is, since I think I still have extra slots here, I can change the slot number for this guy. I'll go to properties, change the slot number, put it on. If I do this, I would have problem with my program. But let us continue. Then change this property and put it on slot 2, then apply. Now, this guy was previously on 2, right? Let us go to our project program we wrote, because remember that we already did some input mapping in our project where we use that slot 2 number. Let us see if it changes automatically in our project, the areas where we have used it. We can see that by changing the position of this card, the slot number, yesterday when we worked with it, we have local 2. But because of we moved the card from slot 2 to slot 6, the number automatically changed from 2 to 6. And you see that you don't have to stress yourself too much on trying to do anything, right? So I love to save projects. So now, remember, our path has already been set already to backplane 2. I will just go ahead and try to go online, then download. Download projects, blah, 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 to connected controller. There is no name. This is the device I'm trying to connect to. This is a backplane parts. The parts is telling me that there is no security on the controller I'm trying to connect to at the moment. So if I had enabled security connection, it will just take me to, it would show there that there is protection already. Now we've downloaded to the PLC. Controller not in correct mode. What does that mean? Oh, okay. Okay, yes. Whenever you are whenever you are trying to download into a PLC with any Alembrale PLC, right? You are trying to download, you are trying to do something online, you are working online. You need to put your PLC in program mode. If it is on run mode or REM mode, that is, it's between running and programming mode. In REM mode, your PLC is running like actual running, right? But then you can still make an adjustment. You can still make some adjustments on the PLC. In run mode, you cannot make any program adjustment. You cannot make any adjustment whatsoever. You can't download into the PLC in run mode. You can't download into the PLC in run mode. But if you want to do an actual download or online edit, if you are doing online edits, you can put the PLC in REM mode. But if you want to download like fresh program, you have to put your PLC in program mode. And I think to do that with this, why is this? Yeah. So let me see. Still showing canceling download. Canceling download. Why is that? Uh, You can you can verify a single routine and you can verify the entire controller project itself. I'm having no error. So why am I not able to download to my controller? Am I not able to download? Sorry, I'm trying to figure. Oh, okay. No, I've not. Sorry, guys. Trying to figure out what the problem is. I have a test project that I created earlier and I was able to connect with that. Let me open that project and see if I'll be able to figure out what the problem is actually. The options I have. So that's not the issue. Not. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what's the problem with my configurator issue. So everything is hanging this one, is it? I had to turn off my emulator and try to run it again. So I don't know. Did we get the method which setting the communication part? Come to communication, who is active? Then this who is active box comes up. The way this guy RS Logics will display it is I said RS Logics, RS Links will display it would be very, very different, right? But what is essential is that uh you need to set a communication path. Without communication paths, you would not be able to do anything with the PLC. You will not be able to communicate, you will not be able to go online, you will not be able to go online. How is this emulator misbehaving this morning? Another user already actively using. I can't see it on my tab here. This is interesting. Very, very interesting. Read lines and service, part of what is disturbing us. And this is what this guy is displaying. I thought today's class would be a very quick one. Just run some simulation and we are done. But then these devices have their own plans for us this morning. I'm going to close that guy back again. What's going on? Wait, let me close all that I have on my system here. I think too many tabs. Too many tabs is affecting this guy. Okay.
Sorry, guys. something is something is definitely wrong somewhere. Error, controller not in correct mode. I don't understand what it means by this. Program. Put it in program mode severally and still yet faulted. Eh, why? Why is there a fault? Um, let's say I go apologize tired today. Let me try this. Let me see what happens. Let me try to upload from the. There's no project in the controller. So what is causing? What is responsible for this fault that we're having? Guys, this automation, these are some of the problems. So now I can't even explain what I did differently that made it download. Except that I think I just did clear major faults, but why I did clear major fault and all of that, I don't know. So these are some very interesting intricacies that you would come across. Eh? I honestly don't know what to tell you I did that made this guy now download after all the struggle. So we are online with the this thing now. You can change. I think my software are my problem this morning. They are kind of responding slowly. I think my program had the problem this morning. So can I was able to go online now. So I have been able to download into the emulator, and I went online now. I came offline again, and I don't know, the guy has refused to go back online. Something is something is wrong. Sorry, this is going to, yeah. Internet is unstable. Okay. Maybe this is what my problem is actually. Then okay. Okay. Ah. Do you know what happened again, guys? I think I just stopped this emulator again. I just offed it again. Who is Peter Clever? Uh, so this class is summer. I think we'll just continue. So I was talking about functions and function blocks yesterday, and I remember that I mentioned that semantic, I said semantic, TIA Porter, you can create a function, you can create a function block. I don't know if you guys know the difference between functions and function block as per TIA Porter. One of them has a instance data block. The other does not have an instance data block. It means there is no way to save the parameters or calculations that are generated by your function. It doesn't have a memory. It does not have a memory. Once your program executes the instruction and it's done executing, it's done for that time being. Why for FBs, that's function block, you would always see that once you create a function block, an instance DB is generated alongside it. That DB serves as a memory card for the function in the function block. So once it does its calculation and all of that, it comes back online. It saves the data, in the DB that is associated with it. However, in Studio 5000, we don't say function blocks. What we have in Studio 5000 uh, is add-on instructions. Add-on instructions are the equivalent of yeah, why are all my device hanging today? All my software are just hanging this morning. I'm trying to untangle this. Oh yeah, communication is lost. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to restart the system like this. So what we have with Studio 5000 is called add-on instructions. So add-on instructions are the equivalent of function block. And where can you get your add-on instruction? You get your add-on instruction under assets. So when you look at your project tree here, Look at your project tree here. Like I said, your controller, your controller files, your tax files, then assets. Under assets, that's where you have your add-on instruction, your data types. So you know that aside from the data types that comes with your logic designer officially, the boolean, the real, integer, double integer, and several other strings and all of that that way. You can also create a data type of yours, right? Which we call user-defined data types. I believe you must have touched on that in the last class. So all of these are under assets because they are assets that you create to enable you become flexible with the program you are writing and to also introduce some form of structure to your program. So let's say, for example, I want to create a function. What I will do is I will come under my assets, then right click and say yes, add a new add-on instruction. Then I will call it whatever I want to call it. Say the add-on instruction is for I have so in what instance do we create functions actually? We create functions so that we can have reusable program. So you look at a system and for example you have an electric motor that functions the exact same way. The electric motors function exact same way, and you want to write a program where you would program for that kind of functionality for about 50, 20, even 6, 7, 10 of that similar type of device is already a lot. So then imagine that you have to write that new instruction or that new block of program, that new block of code every time, whether in a routine or in your main routine, you need to always write that set of instruction. Your program becomes enlarged. It becomes unstructured. Even to manage your program becomes difficult. So what do? You create a function. And like I said, Studio 5000, what you call a function in Studio 5000 is what you refer to as add-on instruction. So you say this is just anything. You refer it, you say Moto FB, right? Moto FB. And then under types, you can describe it. Say function, or maybe it's a special type. It's a star delta. You say star delta Moto function. Or it's a direct online. Just anything. Then what language do you want to write this function in? Ladder, function block diagram, or a structured text? You will select it there. Then you give your function also a revision version. Okay, this is revision 1. Okay, this is revision 2. This one is needed for maybe when you are thinking of something like version control, because you can actually import and export an add-on instruction with RS Logics. I can create this function here and then export it and send to somebody else that imports it into his own program and use it. So the reusability is it's something that is enormous. Like anybody can use it. So you don't need to. So you can even create a standard. The organization can create a standard around it that this is how our electrical motor programs will always be written, right? This is how they will be written. And so when you write it finish in the function, you can share it across the organization for other people to use. So you just export it, you send it to somebody, the person uses it, imports it, and is able to use it in their program. So as you are using it, maybe something new changes, you remodify it, and then you come here, you give it a new version, you update the version, whether minor, whether major revision, you add it, you just state it. So that's what the revision versions is all about. You can also add a revision note so that whoever picks it up knows what's changed or what is new in the project. And then you can add a vendor name, Niger Auto, and just say okay. Then just like you have in a, what do you call it? Uh TI portal, where when you create a function or this, you can create your, you can create you can create your tags that are associated with that particular function. So also you can create, so what parameters, uh what are the things you want to use to control your this thing. So if, for example, you have your stats, your stats command, start cmd, you want it to be an input, you select that I want it to be an input parameter. I want it to be a boolean, you select that I want it to be bool. You have an alias for it. You like, what does alias mean? Alias is like a symbolic this thing. I tell you that okay, this is, so say enable motor on. Say, oh, I think because of I added alias, this guy does not. Okay. Oh, there's a description. So this is where the description is supposed to be. Enable motor on. Just to state whatever. Then remember, this is an input. Stop, because whatever tag you are bringing here, you want it to be, you are bringing the instruction from an input. It's going to be an input to your block. Motor, motor run. This is an output. Can you hear me? Somebody has a message from me in the chat. You can't hear. Can you hear me now, Grace? Tender's code has been, is in the, is in the chats now, so you guys should check it so that we don't have same issue as yesterday. And the attendance code was just recently shared, so there won't be anybody that says it has expired today. We know the person joined the, he joined the call late. So let us still leave it at this. There's where you set whether you want it to be visible. And change history. Okay. Let us leave it as this first. Say, okay. So if you open this guy, under this motor FB, under this motor FB, you would see that you have two things underneath it. You have logic and you have parameters and local tag. If I open it, you would see those parameters that I added when I was creating the this thing. So even if you don't put it, if you didn't add it at that point, you can always add it later, right? By coming to parameters under your Moto FB. So whatever thing you put here is accessible to your function. So for you to now write the logic that you want that function to perform, right? You will now create, you open this logic box, this logic that you have under it. Then you can now add. So take for example, you just want to do a simple start and stop. You come here. You add start command, stop command, and say moto run, moto run. No error. Then I say save. How do I use this moto FB that I just created? This add-on instruction that I just created. I'll go back to any of my specific tasks, say under process control. I want to use that guy here. Then I would say, let me add a new run. I can find that guy now under add-on instructions. Then you would see this is the Moto FB that I just created recently, now showing under add-on here on the top here. Or I think I should also be able to drag and drop from here. Let me see. Okay, I can't. So I just simply pick it from here. Why is my I am not done with this FB yet. I need to make those, so for it to be able to receive parameters from outside, I need to make these tags visible. Impute parameter, yes. Impute parameter, yes. So why is it not showing? Oh, that they go. Okay, required and makes visible. Required, required. Yeah, I knew there's a place where I need to come here. Apply. So it's telling us that because of I've used it in the program before, it's telling me that it needs to update in the area it has I have used it before. So this is the benefits of function blocks, right? So it's going to go and update every. I know you guys might not get what I'm doing, like straight up, like the way I'm doing it now, but soon as we so you can see that there's a change between what I just did and what we have before initially when I created the program. So what this is basically asking for now is start command. Say, for instance, I want to use my start push button to send signal into the block. I'm going, I am going to attach my start push button to this place, attach my stop push button to this section to stop command. I stop push button to this command and my motor run to this. So basically what I have done is that the program I have here, there's even an error in my logic here. This guy would never stop. So now, if I have a lot of this in, I just need to create for this place. I'll just create. So, say for example, motor one. That is how my program identifies which motor am I working with. Then I need to also declare it. So you can see that the data type it has given to it is motor FB, motor FB. Then I just save. I'm still having an error. Edit motor FB. I don't think this is the reason. Why am I having an error? Missing output instruction. Let me go back to the logic that was created. Motor run, yeah. Yeah. So why is this guy giving an error? Stop push button start. I mean, oh, there's an error here. This was declared as an input instead of an output. And that was why it's giving us an error. That should be the reason. Let me confirm that actually. Yes, it's telling me that I've made a change to my program. You can see. So in my function block, I mistakenly named this guy motor run. I made it an output. So it's telling me that the function block I created, I did not create an output for it. So what's the essence of the function if there is no output, right? What's the essence of the function if there's no output? So I think I would go over this again, right? So that we can get it. Sorry, it's been a long time I actually worked on Studio 5000. So as I'm teaching, I'm also recollecting a lot of things. Even this emulator that is acting funny, I have tested it like 2 or 3 times before today's class so that we won't have an issue. But then the guy chose to act different. So what I basically did here, right, inside this block is exact the same thing that you have on this single rung program. So what I'm saying of essence, the purpose of your function block, your FB or add-on instruction as it's being referred to into the 5000 is that imagine we have a lot of this guy, say 100 of them. It means we need to create 100 of this round and we need to do it manually, right? You need to write it manually 100 times, 100 times. But then once you create a function or a function block or an add-on instruction, what you simply do is you write the program just once and then you just keep replicating that block all over. And if something changes in the characteristics or in the function or in the way that device works, you can just simply go into the function block, make the correction there, and the change just propagates across your project. It just propagates across your project. And also this it is also very important to note that you also always remember where these functions are being used. So take for instance, on the field, initially you have a block for direct online function. And then suddenly, because of a new change in a particular section, you needed to bring in a star delta function, right? And then you create a function. You are already using your direct online. You now go into direct online. You now go and change a program function there to work as a star delta. Whereas on your actual field, you still have direct online devices that rely on that function in your program. The changes you make in that single function would affect every other things you've done. So one thing you should have simply done was you can copy that particular function, you paste, and then change make whatever change you want to make there. And then you to go to wherever you have it in your project and simply change. So what I will do, for example, this one, I'll just go to my properties. Is it properties? Okay, it's not here. Okay, so I have Moto 1 here, right? Let me go into my controller My controller tag. I should find it in my controller tags. Come to your controller tags. Moto one. The data type is Moto FB. Moto FB. I'll just change this data type to Moto FB1. Once I do that, anywhere I have used that logic in my program, okay, I think it does not work that way with TIA. If it were to be TIA, I would just simply, what do you call it? I would just simply update. So this is the FB one that we created now. You just add it and maybe, or you can simply, because of I've changed this guy here, I just, this one says does not allow me. Okay, I move it here. Move all the variables. Move all the variables. And just delete. So that guy was giving error because motor one that I have here was attached to motor FB. But the data type for motor one that I have in my controller tag has changed from motor FB1 to motor FB alone. Do we understand? It can be kind of uh, confusing at the moment, but with practice, right, a better understanding comes. Which is why I said this is not a one-off thing. Where after today's class, then you leave the whole thing and you just go and flex and forget about it. So if I don't want the Moto FB, say 02, and say this one now is a different type of motor, which is Moto FB itself. I'll just give it the Moto FB data type. What I have successfully done is I have created two types of function. They might work similarly in terms of the fact, or they might be two different. Okay, they are both motors, but they work differently, right? They are both motors, but they work differently. One is direct online, the other is style data. Mind you, I'm not creating the actual function. I'm just doing this to make an explanation. Okay, let me create another extra row and put it there. Let me just cut it. That is giving me a headache. So, because I know people will ask questions again. Not for Moto 1, for the FB itself. So what I've done is I have a different function that performs direct online motor function and a different function that performs start delta function. So my implementation becomes easy. Anywhere I know that, oh, in this area, what I want to use is what the motto I have here is a star delta motto. I will just go and take my star delta instruction and put it and use function. I'll just take my direct online function and use. I don't need to start rewriting the program from scratch. That is exactly what I'm trying to explain by all of this that I'm doing. So we'll try to turn on our emulator again. Download. The path has already been set before. Remember what I said? If you don't set your communication path, you will not be able to download. Bro, why you dey do me like this? So this guy is in program mode. So what's the issue? It's incorrect mode. I'm sick and tired of this thing like this now. Just this. I guess we'll not be able to simulate today because I don't even understand what is going on with this guy anymore. I'm tired. Ah, find it funny. I lie. Serial number and project. Okay, then download now. Ah, okay. Funny thing is that this guy downloaded earlier today. Funny thing was I closed the simulator in error. In program mode. Uh-huh. In fact, even in remote run mode self, I should be able to download to the PLC. In remote run mode, I should be able to download to the PLC. Is there something that we are missing? Error, controller not in correct mode. Sorry, please. Let me find what this guy means. I don't seem to get what the problem is. This key sign is supposed to change position. It's not changing. What caused your fault, Mr. Man? Trust everybody today were able to take their attendance. Those who joined earlier. Sure, the problem is not from the 5,000 itself because we are not connected, so there's no reason why. Which mode did this controller come be like this? And I've tried changing it severally and it's not changing. Canceling download. About you. But do we have anybody who knows the way around this thing? Because I think got to the point where we need to ask that. I've done everything I know I need to do. This guy. Okay. Can I change this guy from here? I can't. Okay. Let me let me try something. So that this one too, before it will load finish now, it would take a very long time. Warning, warning should not be the reason why it won't work. What does it mean by not in politics? And I can't turn it off. Let me try again. It's the guy not selected. Loading, canceling. Shit. This is good. Sorry, guys. So I think we will just need to end here. I will I will see what's going on with the emulator, and maybe the next class. That is what we'll focus. That's what we'll focus on. Next class should be on Tuesday. Sorry that we could not go beyond this. I wanted us to simulate so that we can see how these things respond, right? But then I don't know, and I can't even explain it, and that's even more troubling for me. The fact that I cannot explain what is going on. So let me try one more time with this guy. This was the guy I used to test the simulator initially, and it went through.
So let me see what's going on. If it does not, if this one too does not connect, then there's a, what does it mean by actual controller that does not? Okay. Let's not protect our use. Will the problem be from the backplane itself? Or can I change backplane? Please give me some few minutes to try to figure out. But the funny thing was that this guy went online once the other time. That was why you have the wrong turning green by this side and by the left side. Or do I need to restart my system? In multiple controls, so run mode, change to run mode. Then I want to put this guy in run mode. Disable storing image. I think I know what's going on. But then this guy is telling me that I don't have a program inside of it whenever I try to go online with it. So the fact that it's even loading slow service is one problem on its own. What is funny was that I tested this thing and I was so sure that we will be able to connect today and we don't have an issue. But now this nigga is showing me Pepe today. Yeah, I don't know. I'm suspecting that the problem might be from the system. I don't know if I should restart my PC. But then I powered off completely yesterday. Why, guy, open now. Please, 12:30 and this 25,000 is not open. We'll just call it a day. I would check on what the problem is and we'll try to work on it in the next class. Yeah, I think I'll. Mere fact that this guy's even taking minutes to even load alone, it's concerning for me. It's concerning for me because it's, it's all right. This thing is so full. But license don't used to affect this guy now. I'm even surprised. Sure, it's not the license that's affecting this guy. Okay, so this was the guy I tested with. The only thing I have was my emulate project. But yeah, it's okay. Open now. Ah, eh,
Guys, I believe the problem is from the emulator itself. The problem is from the emulator itself. So we'll just end today's class. Would try to run it again today. I'll go through it today again and try as much as make sure that I connect. I tested it actually. Uh, Even before the last class, I've tested it a long time ago and I was able to simulate that day. So for it to now start misbehaving today, I I apologize for that actually. So we'll just end the class. Do we have any question concerning the add-on instruction that I created? I know when I was doing it, it was a bit of here and there and all of that. So what questions do you have? Let me answer your questions and you can call it a day. Spent a lot of time trying to simulate. Uh, if you have any question, just raise your hand and I would answer you. Hello, can anybody hear me? Okay. So I guess everyone is fine with the add-on instruction so far today. We have an understanding of why the add-on instruction was created, how to use it in your program after you've created one. Okay. Since there's nobody saying anything, I guess I'll just call it a day today. So that I can shut down my system, restart it, then try to open the simulator again and try to download into it and see what happens. So it's the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah.